Hello, hello. Okay, I think I froze for a second, but I'm back. All right. Can everybody hear me? Hi, Sarah. Hello, everybody. O Mundo Segundo. Uma Sagittariana. That's a really cool name. Okay, good. Yeah, I froze for a second. I put the live on, and then I realized I had to charge my computer, and I had to go downstairs to get my charger. That's what happens when you're live. What are you going to do? So, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. My name is Maria DeSimone. If you don't know me or my work, you can go find out more about that over at insightfulastrology.com. If you're interested, welcome back. If you're back to my channel, if you are somebody who subscribes to the channel, I appreciate it. Please remember to click that like button for these videos because it does help the YouTube algorithm get this content out to more people. And so, the North Node is moving into Aries. We have talked about this before. The South Node is moving into Libra. And so I wanted to do a real life astrology video about this. And I was thinking about just, taping the video, but then I said, you know what, let me come on live because it might be more fun to have a dialogue, to have a little conversation with you guys about this. I am going to share some of my personal life situations and how it connects to the nodal shift into Aries and Libra in the hopes that I can illustrate the potential shadow side of the North Node going into Aries and the South Node going into Libra. Now, I have already done a video, which you may have already watched, on the nodes of the moon changing signs and what that means for you based on your rising sign. So if you haven't already watched that, please go and check that video out. I will link it here somewhere, either in the description box, or it'll be floating around at the end of this video. So make sure you see that, check that video out so that you understand what the nodes of the moon mean, the shift means for your particular sign, and especially the rising sign forecast, because the exact math forecast is the one that you really want to pay attention to. This is an 18-month transit. It officially begins on the 17th of July, but that depends on whether or not you are using the mean node or the true node. If you are using the mean node formula, the shift has happened. Okay, so this is like splitting hairs. I'm not going to worry about whether or not it has happened yet or if it's about to happen. It doesn't matter because it is happening. I'm feeling it already, definitely, 1000%. I've been feeling this for a while, actually. And let me just say hello to who else came in. Anarita, ciao. Okay, so somebody's asking how my love life is. That's so funny. All right. Part of what I want to talk about does relate to that, actually. So, okay. So, in general, the North Node moving into Aries is, we are all supposed to be going towards developing a sense of self, a sense of identity, a sense of personal courage, right? Personal leadership, and being true to ourselves, being true to our path. This is something that, in general, for the next 18 months, we're all supposed to be doing. And that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The North Node is saying this is where you're going to experience growth. And growth is happening in the sign of Aries. So everything Aries like: leadership, personal identity, sense of self, just everything that's all about you, everything that's all about me. Whereas the South Node indicates release, potential letting go, loss, even. The South Node is the South Node and the North Node are supposed to be rebalanced and integrated. You're supposed to use them both together and integrate the North Node and South Node energies to help you self-actualize, to help you achieve that North Node destiny. So you're not supposed to disown the South Node qualities. You're supposed to rebalance and get rid of what is no longer healthy in the South Node area of your life. Now, in the sign of Libra, we are talking about partnership. We are talking about one-on-one relationships, connections. And so what we are all in general releasing is going to be connections of that are unhealthy, codependent relationships, people pleasing, needing a relationship so much that it eclipses your own identity. So you can see how the overdoing of Libra qualities has to go. That's what you're going to let go of. That's what you're going to release. And we will all be experiencing this lesson for the next 18 months until January of 2025. Where in our life we are experiencing it really depends on where this nodal axis falls in your particular birth chart. And again, that's not what we're talking about in this video. Watch my other video for that information. But I happen to really personally identify with this current nodal axis shift because, as some of you may know, I have Aries rising, and the degree of my Aries rising is 23-ish, maybe 24-ish. Okay, even though my birth time says it's 24, I do kind of think that I was more of a 23-degree Aries rising, but it doesn't matter. That means that the North Node is in my first house, and it is going to be moving over my ascendant. And the South Node is in my seventh house of partnership and will be moving over the degree of my descendant. And I have been feeling this energy for a while now, and I have noticed this fascinating shift in my personality that I've been observing. And now I'm starting to wonder if I am overdoing it and if I am falling into the shadow energy of North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. And so I'm reflecting on this in my own life, and I wanted to share these thoughts with you because if you find yourself experiencing this over the next 18 months, then you too will have to do some soul searching and rebalance, because the goal is not to do Aries exclusively and disown Libra. That's wrong. What you're supposed to do is a healthy integration, letting go of the unhealthy parts of Libra energy right now in your life and not disowning relationships completely, but using healthy relationships to help facilitate your identity. So, before I tell you about my personal shadow side story, I want to talk about what researchers have determined give a person, any person, a happy, positive quality of life. To know that you are living a good life, a really fulfilled quality life. And I agree with this. And I wish I was good at quoting research studies, but I've heard some of my colleagues talk about this, and I'm just not as good as quoting sources. Maybe some of you will know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. But I identified with this deeply, and I hope that some of you do as well, because that means that you too are living amazing lives. But the quality of a person's life and happiness, according to researchers, depend on two things. Number one, whether or not that person has a purpose, feels that they have a purpose in life. And it doesn't have to be career, it could be anything in their life that gives them purpose. So if you feel that you have a strong sense of purpose, check a box. You have a lot going for you towards happiness and personal fulfillment. But the other area of life that determines the quality of your happiness, your fulfillment, and your life is whether or not you have quality relationships. So, not just relationships to fill space in your life, but actual quality, nurturing, positive, quality relationships. And it doesn't matter what kind of relationships we're talking about. It could be friendships, it could be family members, it could be colleagues, it could be student teacher dynamic, it could be a mentor, it could be romantic, but it could be your children, any relationships. The quality of those connections determine your happiness and fulfillment. So if you are somebody who has relationships in your life that maybe are toxic or draining you or costing you more than it's really worth, that is detracting from your happiness, personal fulfillment, personal life satisfaction. If you have no purpose in life, then you're really floundering, right? Now let me know in the comments, who relates to this? Okay. Do you have those two areas checked in your life, or does one of them need work? So I was reflecting on this earlier, and I have to say that for me, I am very blessed because obviously I have a huge purpose in life, and I have felt that for many years. Astrology is not just my career. It has never been just my career. It has been my calling in life. And that is a calling that I recognized about 20 years ago. And I've been living that calling and answering that calling every day of my life since then. And that gives me something that I notice some other people around me don't have. And I feel sad when not everybody is aligned to some kind of a purpose, or they're not finding a purpose with their life. And you don't have to have a calling to have a purpose. I think that having a purpose does relate to being of service to others in some way, because it brings you outside of your own ego and it helps you find fulfillment and meaning in your life. Okay. So that's one area, but the other area is the quality of my relationships. Let me know about the quality of your relationships. So for those of you who follow me in my work and my personal rants, you know that I'm single. I've been divorced for a long time. I've had relationships, obviously, since my divorce, but I have not had a committed relationship since, well, marriage since my divorce in 2011, but I haven't had a committed relationship since 2017. And that is an area of my life that has always been a struggle and a pain point, getting a committed romantic relationship. I don't have any problem dating or meeting somebody, and I have no problem with sex, but commitment is where I've always had that pain point. However, every other relationship area of my life is extraordinarily blessed and fulfilled. So I happen to be extremely blessed with a big, giant Italian family. I grew up very close to cousins, and I mean, I lived on the same block as cousins and aunts and uncles, and we'd have our Sunday dinners at Nona's house with aunts, uncles, and cousins. It was just there. I was always surrounded by family, and I have extremely strong, durable family bonds and connections in my life. And I also happen to be very blessed with a high quality in friendships. And I don't have tons of close friends, but you don't need. It's not about number. It's about quality of your relationship. So I have uh, a lot of quality friendships, definitely quality family relationships, and I also consider my relationships with my students and the people that I mentor and clients as part of my relationship dynamics, and they are very fulfilling to me, especially the student teacher relationships. For me, that is very fulfilling. It's a big part of my life. And so the quality of my relationships is amazing. However, now I'm getting to the shadow of the Aries North Node. Okay. So I have noticed this really big shift in my personality over the past several months. And now that the nodes are actually going into Aries and Libra and about to hit my ascendant descendant, I'm really feeling this strongly. I think it began at the April eclipse because that was the first eclipse in Aries, and that was at about 29 degrees. I'm forgetting what day it was. It might have been end of March. I might be wrong. Give me 1 second and I'll tell you. That eclipse happened in April 20th of 2023. Okay, so I think this started for me at that eclipse actually, but now it's very dominant. I So here's the shadow of Aries. The good is, as a woman with Aries rising and Venus in Aries too, but this is more about the rising sign, I am extremely independent, self-sufficient, very courageous, very dynamic. I am a go-getter. I don't need anyone to start anything for me. I am I'm very self-contained. And there's a power in that. There's I think a beauty in that. But I have noticed that over the last couple of months, and definitely right now, I no longer value romantic relationships, commitment. I no longer find value in it. And I realize that it's possible that the reason why I no longer find value in it is because I am expressing some of the shadow qualities now of the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. So I am so in my Aries, so in my masculine, so in my, I just don't need anyone for anything. So I don't see why I am going to give of myself to someone else in a relationship and then have to accommodate their needs and their desires and their time and make compromises in my own life with what I want. So you see how Aries I'm sounding right now? Okay. So this is an extreme expression. I truly, I have said this multiple times to people in my life. At this point in my life, I feel like the only reason I ever needed a man was to have children. And I already did that. And for me, I am not seeing genuinely, I'm not seeing any value in having a man in my life in a romantic capacity any longer. In fact, because all of my other relationships are so positive and fulfilling, and the quality of them are so good, all of those other relationships and connections fill me up just fine. And so I think it's really interesting that I have most definitely gone completely super Aries. And I see people around me who are super Libra. Now I'm talking about my personal life, not clients or anything else. People in my life who are super Libra. And the super Libra people in my life who are all about relationships, it's kind of disgusting me on some level because I am seeing the compromises that they're making to their own identity, to their own sense of self, to their own stability. And I see that they don't know how to define themselves apart from their partner, and I feel like that's very dangerous. And I'm just not I'm literally disgusted by it for them. I worry about it. But again, I recognize that this is shadow behavior on my part because I am supposed to be, just like you are supposed to be, balancing and integrating healthy expressions of the South Node in Libra in order to facilitate the North Node in Aries growth that we're all supposed to be experiencing and having over the next 18 months. So, uh, Beatrix is saying, check your progressed ascendant for those changes too, and moon and progressed sun. So, what's funny for me is that my progressed moon is now in Libra. And right right when I think it's going to be after the nodes leave Aries and Libra, that is when I think it's 2 months after that, my progressed moon will actually be conjunct my descendant. So that's happening for me in March, I believe, of 2025. And the nodes are leaving Aries and Libra in January of 2025. And the last time that the progressed moon crossed my seventh house cusp, I got married. Obviously, there were other things going on with the ruler of my descendant, which was Venus, and other things, But I do think it's interesting that I'm in this cycle now of I don't want a relationship. I don't see the value in a relationship. I feel, and I hope this doesn't come across as arrogant because it's not my intention, but I really feel that there is not a man in my life, in my vicinity, who brings enough value into my life to make it worth my while to give anything of myself. Uh, I'm completely independent. I'm completely self-contained. I am emotionally stable, financially stable, spiritually stable. I just feel like I have everything that I need all on my own. And why would I allow a man to come into my life who potentially is not adding to the value of my life? I do not want to take that risk of a man coming into my life and throwing me off balance, compromising any of what I have worked so hard to achieve in my own personal development. So, again, I'm not saying this is healthy. I recognize the shadow energy at play, and that's why I'm doing this video. And I just think this is part of my journey over the next 18 months uh, with this nodal shift. Because for me, it is very much about identity and relationship. It's across my ascendant and descendant. For you guys, it might not be as much. It might be about independence in work, or reclaiming independence in a family situation, or taking a leadership role in your own health, or in finding your own voice, communicating. It depends on where it is for you. But the qualities of Aries and Libra are the qualities of Aries and Libra, regardless. So, what about you guys? I want to read the comments here. I want to see how you guys are experiencing the nodal shift. If anybody identifies, if anybody has planets in Aries or Libra, or angles in Aries or Libra, tell me about you. What are you experiencing? So many of my Libra people, Libra rising people, they're getting married. They are fully engaged in relationships. They have reconnected with partners in fortified relationships. I mean, it's such a different situation for the Libra heavy people out there. And um, so tell me what the astrology is for you, and then tell me how you're experiencing it. I would love to hear it. So Paranam is saying, I'm kind of in the same boat. It feels necessary. Aries rising here, not worth slowing down for those who can't move right with me. I need my freedom. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I feel, Paranam, and I feel it deeply, very deeply. I said to somebody the other day, I'd rather be alone. I'd rather be in my own company than in the wrong company. I just won't allow it. I don't think that I can afford it. I don't think that, and I don't, and I'm sure you understand that, Paranam. You agree. Lynn is saying, Maria, you are totally independently owned and operated. I can relate. Libra rising, Aries moon. Oh, so you've got you've got that conundrum too. Libra rising, but Aries moon. So your Aries moon is in your partnership sector. So you actually you need to find yourself through other people, actually, with that combination. But it's, it gets complicated. So so Omundo is saying, exactly, my mental health cannot afford another male disruption. I really do. And it's not, believe me, I'm not a man hater by any means. This is not, I'm not bashing men. I really am not. I'm completely open to, if there is somebody who's meant to come into my life, who is here, because I'm here. So I'm not accepting here, here, here. Hell no. You got to be slightly above or way better so that I know I'm growing. I know that there's something to reach towards. There's a reason, there's a motivation to have you in my life. And I think people do this. It's not that I'm not saying that relationships should be transactional, but I think on some level they just are. That's, we're with people for what they can offer us and what we can offer them. And you have to determine, is this relationship worth the price I will pay in terms of my identity, what I will have to give up, what I will have to compromise? Is what I'm getting with the connection and the relationship worth it? And so I'm just in that place of, it's not worth it. Every time I'll go to the gym, I'll have a conversation with a man. Somebody approaches me, somebody expresses interest. It's like, I can see it. I see that maybe they're physically attracted to me. I see that, but I also see that nobody knows how to talk to me. Men don't know how to talk to me. And I think this kind of pisses me off because I live in New York. I'm on Long Island, and I am a fairly successful businesswoman, but I have a very unusual business. So men are very thrown by me because when I tell anybody what I do for a living, they assume, oh, she's an astrologer? Oh, so she's a crazy gypsy who can't pay her bills and is looking for me to support her. This is what men initially think. And the truth is, I'm actually more successful than the great majority of men that I meet. But they don't even bother to have a conversation with me because as soon as they find out what I do, they make a judgment or they think I'm a devil worshiper. They make a judgment and they don't want anything to do with me anymore. And then the men that continue to talk to me, who get past that, who maybe are more successful than me financially, or they're ambitious like I am, they're business minded like I am, those men I'll establish a connection with. But then what becomes missing is they don't get me spiritually. So it is so hard to find that right combination for me of intellectual, spiritual compatibility, financial compatibility, and intellectual, mental, just everything compatibility. So it's just, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you relate to that in your life, in your way. But I do think that I have that extra issue because of what I do for a living. And again, because I'm successful at it. So it's what I do is weird. What I do is unusual. There are not a lot of professional astrologers in the world. There are certainly not a lot who do this full time successfully. And then I'm very spiritual and I try to be high vibration and I try to keep growing and learning. And a lot of men, especially if they're businessmen, that's not their world. They're not looking at their horoscopes unless they, the businessmen that hire me to do things that are business related. But it's a really wild thing. Okay, so I'm reading your comments. And the other thing, I'll bring this into it, that's going to make it interesting is that the nodes just changed signs. They're changing signs. And that means the ruler of the South node is now Venus, and we're just going into a Venus retrograde. So Venus is retrograding from July 22nd to September 3rd. And the whole theme of the Venus retrograde in Leo is the squares that Venus is making to Uranus. So this is a roller coaster ride with Venus retrograde. And for somebody like me who's Aries rising, the retrograde's happening in my fifth house of love, romance, sex, pleasure, what brings me joy. And it's a totally roller coaster experience. So I think over the summer, as the nodes shift, we are really confronted in a jarring way with whatever shadow energies we have to potentially release. The squares to Uranus are bringing unexpected situations into our world, into our reality to work through. So, oh yes, Beatrice, I believe that so deeply. What is meant to be yours will not pass you by. When you're meant to meet a soulmate, you're meant to meet a soulmate. Absolutely. And so I hope that this live stream, I hope I accomplished my purpose, which was to share with you a little bit about the danger zone of falling too deeply into the shadow energy of this nodal shift, because it could absolutely happen to any of us. And that's not what we're supposed to be doing for the next 18 months. So if you find yourself slipping into this, sit with it. I mean, I'm not saying go out and get a relationship just to have a relationship. That's definitely not what I'm saying. We're realigning our values in relationship right now, right? There's that course correction with the Venus retrograde that's necessary, but also be willing to see objectively if you have become so super Aries, so super selfish, dominant, self-directed that maybe you are starting to shut out healthy relationships in your life. Now, I'm not doing that. That I know I'm not doing because, like I said, I have so many amazing high quality relationships in my life, family, friends, etc. But I have shut out romantic relationships right now. And I think I need to, because I'm also reevaluating my values connected to what I want and what I won't tolerate, and just accepting that I am actually very happy being single. That's another thing. Some of us with this nodal transition may not want a relationship for a while, and that's okay. This might be the chapter in your life that is solo, that is all about you. And I do feel that for me. And I feel that that is right for me. And it's contributing to my strength right now. I have felt so in my power lately, especially this past couple of months. It's remarkable. I have felt, you know what happens? I mean, you've all suffered a broken heart, right? Everybody's had their heart broken. Everybody's been betrayed. Everybody's gone through that. Okay. Nobody's, whether it's a romantic betrayal or a friend betrayal or whatever, everybody's experienced heartbreak, betrayal in some way. Well, when that first happens to you, you're gutted, right? You are on the floor, bleeding out, absolutely devastated, in shock. You are at a really low point when you are first heartbroken by anybody. And then you have to go through this slow, painful process of feeling this pain and heartbreak, processing it, healing from it day by day, inch by inch. And through that process, and it takes a long time, it does not happen overnight, but it takes time. Through that process, when you are finally at the other side of it, have you ever noticed how strong you feel? How much you feel in your power? Well, that's where I'm at right now. And so it's a reflection of, for me, my last heartbreak was 2021. Yes, it was 2021. So that was my last heartbreak betrayal experience. And it was a very long journey. It took almost 2 years for me to really heal from that. And so I've healed from that fully, and I have become stronger in every area of my life. Every area of my life has become strengthened since then. So I know I'm in my power now. I'm in such a good place. So once you get to that point, and now I'm full in that Aries energy, I'm very reluctant to let let the Libra in. I'm very reluctant to give, because part of me feels like if I give, I'm going to be destabilized. So there is that fear. There definitely is that fear. So I'm almost challenging the universe and saying, if you want me to be with somebody, you are going to find somebody, put somebody in my life who is so here, and who is the one that is bringing everything to the table and proving the value before I get too deep into it. And, that's not likely to happen because nobody's going to do that. But, but that's, kind of the energy that I'm in right now. Okay. I'm reading these comments here. So thank you, Lynn. That's very, very kind of you to say. So your personal astrology and all those little things, there's not enough time for me to do anything like that. There's so many video requests for personal video things. You really should book a personal consultation with me or another astrologer that you trust if you're looking to get deep into your personal chart and astrology and your upcoming cycles. That's really the only way to do it. It's the only proper way to do it. I say all the time, yes, I give you sun sign and rising sign horoscopes every month, but I don't do it because I believe that that's what you should be living your life by. I do these horoscopes because I'm trying to inspire the masses to learn more about your real astrology, your actual birth chart, to dig deeper, to become curious, and to want to either study astrology or to hire a professional astrologer and really dig into your astrology and learn how to use your astrology as a tool for personal empowerment and development. That is my passion in life, and that is what I strive to do when I bring you your video horoscopes. No matter what topic I put a video horoscope on, that's the goal that I have. And that's the reason why I have this channel and why I do this. So, okay, I think I'm going to end this live stream. I didn't want to make it too long. and I'm having such a cool family reunion later. I am seeing an aunt who I haven't seen in maybe 20 years. I have to say a really long time because she moved to another state and she moved to Texas and she's here now. She's 95, my Aunt Lena. And this is my mother's side of the family. And I'm super excited to be reunited with her because she actually, her son, my cousin John, he passed away in the early 90s, but my Aunt Lena's son was an astrologer. He was an astrologer in Manhattan and he passed away in the early 90s. And so, I actually had another astrologer in my family, but when he passed away, I wasn't an astrologer at that time. I was actually just, getting engaged and getting married. I was at a different point in my life, but it's just so cool that I have that connection in my family. And so, yeah, my mother's side is definitely the gypsy, psychic, spiritual side. But my Aunt Lena, who I get to see, she's 95 and she has this personality where she was always this ditz who's very smart. Okay. So, like that character in the Golden Girls that Betty White plays, I'm forgetting her name, but the Betty White character in the Golden Girls who acts very ditzy and she's very funny, but she's not a stupid person by any means. That's my Aunt Lena. So, just being around her energy is so much fun. And it's going to be seven of us. It's going to be me, my sister, and her other daughter, my cousin Gina, and my cousin Margie, a few other people. It's gonna be so much fun. So that's what I'm doing today. See, I'm telling you, I have amazing relationships in my life. I'm so blessed in that area. I hope you guys are. I really wish that for all of you, that you all have a sense of purpose in life, that you all have amazing quality, nourishing relationships, because these two things really determine your happiness, your quality of life. So, yes, it's Rose. That was the character. Thank you, Samantha. Okay. All right, guys. Well, you have a beautiful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Let me know in the comments if you relate to this, if you're experiencing the shadow, if I have helped you be aware of it and maybe get out of the shadow if you are. And please remember to take 1 second and hit that like button. It really means so much because it adjusts the YouTube algorithm. It allows YouTube to share it with more people interested in high quality astrological content. So, you taking that 1 second of your life to hit that like button, it's not about popularity. Nobody gives a shit about that. This is numbers and algorithm and me trying to share my message with the people who are meant to hear it. So, I hope you can appreciate that when I ask you to do it, it is for that reason. All right, guys, have an awesome day. I love and appreciate you all so much. Bye bye.